Tek Dedicated Storage does not float in ARK Survival Ascended and must be placed on a surface. This makes building it into floors much harder than in the original game. In this video, I'll show you how to build Tek Dedicated Storage into a floor by lowering ceilings using nothing but metal structures. Let's get cracking. Alright Tinkers, I'm Toastbloke and I'm back in ARK Survival Ascended because I want to show you how to build a Tek Dedicated Storage Floor using a method that I only found thanks to a wall and some railings. Now I'm going to pop these down because I think it's a good starting point. It'll help you understand what we're doing throughout the build and then everything will make more sense, so it's worth doing. Now you'll notice that the three railings are the exact same height as one wall. There is a little bit of a weird thing going on here where the bottom one looks smaller, but that's because if I just head over here, walls and everything else, even railings, actually place just below the surface of the foundation, so it looks like they aren't quite a third, but they are. Now what I noticed as well, more importantly, is that if I get out a Tek Dedicated storage box, is that they are the exact same height as that bottom railing in a foundation, which means it is just lower than 1/3 of a wall's height. And that gave me an idea. It got me to thinking, if I can create a gap the same height as a railing, can I create a Tek Dedicated storage floor? And it turns out that you can. So we're going to head over here and I'm going to show you the method that I've come up with. It's super simple, albeit a little bit annoying, but I think you'll be able to pull this off. Now I'm just going to head over here and look for some space so we can see what's going on. Let's use this area in the light, and I'm going to place a fence foundation just there. Now this land isn't perfectly flat. It helps that the land is flat. The flatter it is, the easier your life's going to be. But it doesn't mean you can't do this wherever you fancy. What I must say as well though, is that before we get started, this is something you kind of have to build from scratch. You can't do this to an existing base. You would have to start with your war room or your crafting station first. So bear that in mind as I do this. Now what you're going to do next is, once you've got your first foundation in place, it needs to be where you want the center, the very middle of your dedicated storage boxes to be. You're going to grab out a pillar and pop that on the foundation. That allows you to snap a wall to the fence foundation like so. And the reason we want this is I want to place the foundation at a one railing's height, one foundation away from the wall. So we'll grab a ceiling and we'll pop this on top, and then we're going to run railings down. So if I get the railings out and try and snap those below, and we'll just pop them there like so. Now you will only need to do 2 railings. I'm doing 3 so I can show you how this works. And these railings have kind of made a bit of a fence that we're going to use as a guide for our foundation placement. So if I grab out the foundation, I'll align this up using the rails and also the edges of the railing here to get this fairly straight. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just a guide for the right height. And I want that just touching there. And when it's about right and I'm happy, I'm going to click once on fire to lock it in position. Now I don't want to rotate my character here. I don't want to move. What I'm going to do is use up and down. I'm going to go with the arrow keys. It's easier to adjust the height of this foundation. Now at first I thought I would need to do it there at the top of the bottom railing, but as we mentioned before, the railing sinks below the ground, so that doesn't quite work. And if we go all the way up to this rail here, it's too high. But the perfect point of placement for this foundation is where it is now. You'll notice the bottom of the fence is thicker, the part that does go underground in the foundation, and it gets narrower, and there's a point where it goes to being skinny. That is the place you want it, where the larger, wider part of the fence leg or the railing leg turns into the narrower part. And once you're there, if you place this, you are set with your foundation. The scaffolding, that's everything else we've used, can all be picked up. So let's do that, including the fence foundation. And that is the hardest part of this, and it's the setup of this. So we are pretty much good to go now. What we're going to do is we want to get a fence foundation back where we just had the one we picked up. We're going to snap one to the edge of here, parallel, and then one at a 90-degree angle there, just so that it is in line with the foundation. And that will now be one railing. Let's just pick this up, not the stones. That will be one railing lower than this foundation. And if you want to check that, all you've got to do is grab out your railing, pop it on, and grab a ceiling and snap that to your foundation. And what you're looking for, you want a tiny little gap. I could have got that neater, to be fair. I could have got it smaller, but you know, I'm not going to bother today. As long as you've got a gap between the top of the rail and your ceiling, you are good to go. So then, let's pick this up. Obviously, if it's touching, start this little process again. Make sure you get it right. But that is our 2 foundation heights set. Now, from here, I like to get out pillars and I pop those either side. And they are going to be holding up our Tek Dedicated storage boxes. And the cool thing about this is you can do this as big as you want. If you want to go further this way and you want to run more, or the opposite way, you can, and you can put more foundations down, fence foundations and pillars. But because I want to keep this simple for today, we are only going to do the 2 pillars, and I'm going to do a 3x2 dedicated storage floor. So let me do the next part. This isn't required, but I think it looks tidy. I'm just going to pop a wall in there, and that is sorted. We are all set to go. Now I'm going to leave the middle for now, and I'm going to work on our actual structure, the part that our floor is going to be held in, I guess. So let me get some foundations. This needs to be, for this, a 5x4. So I'm going 2 either way from the center one, and I have to go 3 out from this one, and I'm just going to work my way around. Hopefully we've got the foundation height all the way around that we want here. If not, all I would do is put it lower and use quarter walls and ceilings to get it looking all level and nice like this. And this is the result that you're looking for. If you want to at this point, it's up to you. You can pop ceilings or foundations in the gap here, just to give that central structure a little bit of protection. You know, we don't want this to be falling down and collapsing too easily. And you'll notice now that this wall here is actually 2 railings high off the foundations, making this 2/3 of a wall, leaving that 1/3 of a gap at the top for our boxes. Now then, we're going to do the outer wall of this, so let me grab some more walls, and I'm just going to make my way around the outside, placing these. And you don't have to do this like this. Depending on what you want your base to be like, you might have your supporting walls further back, you might have a workshop inside of here, something going on. And as a result, I'm thinking, if this is going to be something we want to access, let's put a door in and let's use a secret door, because that's fun. It's a new thing in the game. Let's make use of it. And that is basically the room that we are going to be building our floor on top of complete. We need to get up there, obviously, if we're building up there. So let me get some stairs, and I'm just going to pop these on the side here. I don't really need to because it's not high enough, but so I know where the door is today, not that I'd forget. We'll pop that there, and I'm going to get on top, and we're going to run ceilings all the way around the outside walls. Don't want them going in the middle, just around the outside, because we need to leave a gap for our dedicated storage boxes. So we'll go around here, nice and easy. Like I say, the hardest part is just getting everything lined up at the beginning, but once you're done, you're off. And that is the top section complete. Now, you might have more floor, you might have all sorts going on. Because I'm going to be ending this here, I'm going to run a railing around the outside, just so I don't fall off the top of my dedicated storage floor. So we'll do that. It just gives it a bit of a finished feel, I guess. And then once we're done, we're getting into the nitty-gritty, the important part, and that is placing the lowered ceilings. So let's grab some ceilings. I don't know what I just clicked. Let's get the ceilings, and we're going to snap these inside here. Now, if you want to, you can take this all the way to the edges. I'm not going to bother. I think it's quite cool that you can access the edge boxes from inside down below if you want, so I like to leave that open. But that's the trick. That is the build done. All we've got to do now is add the storage boxes. So let's show you how we go about that. If you get one of these out, you'll notice that there are 4 squares on each ceiling, and each square on the ceiling or foundation is about the same size. In fact, it pretty much is the same size as the storage box. So if we can place one of these correctly, we'll be able to snap all the others to it. And that's why we have this gap at the sides, because we are going to need these to ever so slightly tuck under these ceilings for this to work. I tried it with walls and it just wouldn't. You couldn't do it. You couldn't, because they get too squashed together. So this is the best way. This is the way I figured. We might be able to improve it in the future. Who knows? But I want to make sure this placement is perfect. So we're going to get our ladder and we're going to go for the old ARK Survival Evolved ladder trick. So we get on the ladder, we hop off, we pick it up, and that puts us in line with the far edge. Well, just in line with this whole ceiling section, to be honest with you. Then I can get out my dedicated storage box and I want to place this perfect. So I'm going to get this right in here and have a little look, see if I think that looks about right. I think it needs to go left a little. K mode really helps with this, so jump into orbital cam. And you want to make sure the gaps on either side are the same, but also that this is just tucked right up against the edge of the back there. And that looks pretty darn good to me. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to come out of K mode. You can't place any more in K mode on this game for some reason, or it'll twist it. So let's just bang that there. Or at least it does some structures. I'm not fully sure about this one, to be honest. I can't remember. But that is our first one in place. And what I'm going to do is enable snapping and just pop these all the way along the top. And already you can see how nice and neat that is. Like I say, I think I could have done a bit of a better job and just got that a little bit lower on the edge. But I don't think I need to be that fussy. The OCD says otherwise, but I think this is sound. I think this is nice enough. So just get these in all snapped into the gaps. And that is the floor placed. We can walk across this. It's a slight little dip. Nothing too crazy. But we can also access all of the dedicated storage boxes if we need to. And it looks an absolute treat if we just have a little zoom out from here. So, like I say, it's not the most easy method for anything that I've ever done, but it is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward once you know how, and it works every time, as long as you get that railing, or at least the foundation, placed at the correct height on the railing. So look out for that. Now, like I mentioned, if you come inside, we can access all of these boxes going around here, but there's a bit of a gap, and it's quite easy to target the two pillars that are keeping this all up. So it's up to you how you choose to support this. You might want to try and support it a bit better, but you've got to do that early doors, because once you start putting things in, you get collision. But what I like to do as well is to just get these little walls here, the quarter walls, and just pop them in. I think it makes it tidy. It's not just a big gap. You can walk up to the edge and still access the boxes. And it's going to stop people getting in and taking out the pillars at the bottom ever so easy. So it's a nice little move. It's nice and protective. So I just pop this in here. And like I say, I just think it looks a lot nicer too. So that is the inside complete. And yeah, you can run stairs up from here onto the top. You can make this bigger and have a workshop in here. There's all sorts you can do. The possibilities are endless. But I'll leave that part up to you. That is the method. That's how it works. That's how it ends up looking. It's super tidy, super neat. Everything's accessible, and it's pretty darn strong because it's all made out of metal. You just got to protect those inner pillars, like I say. But yeah, that's it. That's it. I don't know why I'm still talking. So I'm going to call that there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this tutorial or found it useful, please remember to like, subscribe and ring the notification bell. Helps me out hugely, does wonders for the channel, and I'm super, super grateful for your support. If you'd like to, check out the links in the description. I'll put anything related to this video and this technique that I come up with in the future, but also the Discord and the likes is linked down below too. So please check that out if you want to get involved in the community. But until next time, guys, you take care, and I'll catch you later. Cheerio.